Yeah, so I want to say a few more words about what I was telling y'all about, how America doesn't have a culture. Now, guys, I've been pretty much all over this country, man, from the east to the west, okay, as far as places I've lived, and the Midwest, okay? And I don't think people really realize it as much as I do. Some people see it, some people know exactly what I'm talking about. See, the problem is that most Americans identify themselves with someone on television. They identify with other people who they see on television. That's why a lot of times Americans, if I'm hanging around them for a while, eventually somebody will say, "You look like so and so," or "You look like this rapper," or "You look like this basketball player." They can only identify with what comes off that television. They don't have no culture, and if you don't have no culture, you don't have no identity. And if you don't have no identity, well, hell, you don't know who you are. So oftentimes when I am out and about, I always get stares, guys. Listen to what I'm telling you real clearly. I get a lot of stares from people, not white people. I get a lot of stares from so-called black people. I'm talking about I walk into a room or I'm just chilling somewhere and I just happen to see, some black motherfucker walking past and he just has this stare at me. You wonder, what is he looking at? Well, sometimes he's surprised to see me. All the evidence is clear that I'm not supposed to be around, that I'm the last of a dying breed. All the evidence is clear. But it's, how do you say, it's exasperated. I mean, the equalizer is on high with that with me because I wasn't supposed to make it out of where I come from. So when people see me, it's shocking. You look around these cities, what do you see? You see gentrification. And you see the only people that seem to be having fun and relaxing and walking their dogs with some smile on their face is some motherfucking yuppies. They look like they don't got a care in the world. You be seeing them motherfuckers on a Tuesday morning in some coffee shop. They don't look like they worried about nothing. Every time you see somebody of color in these places, they look like they broke, busted, and disgusted. You can't ignore that shit, man. Even if you try, you can't ignore that shit that you see. Okay? Can't ignore what you see. Um See if I can end this right quick. Give me 1 second, y'all. Sometimes I'll be I'll just be guys. I'll just be chilling somewhere, and I'll see some young colored boys, black boys, and it seems like they always up to something. No good. They got this thing so timed down in these cities that they got the young black people thinking that being bad is what they're supposed to be doing. You can tell it's all programming. But it's not about black people. I seen a white dude today walking two dogs. Remember, because they gotta compete. I mean, they say, "Oh yeah, you walk two dogs, well I walk three dogs." And next thing you know, somebody walking four dogs. Then somebody walking. I mean, I see the fucking shit, man. I see like Neo saw the fucking Matrix. I see the fucking programming in this place. I see it. It's heavy. It's heavy programming. The white dude I seen earlier walking, the two dogs walking across the street, guys. I swear if y'all had seen this motherfucker, he was in another world. He was in a world where walking those two dogs across the street with his little shorts on and his hairy legs, that was his whole world. He was totally just far gone. It wasn't just some white guy walking two dogs. No, this dude was in some kind of world, some kind of trance that he was in. Where I live now, if I was sitting outside somewhere eating a fucking croissant and some tea, everybody would be staring at me. They'd be wondering, where the fuck did you come? Because you're not supposed to be doing that here. Now, just to end this, if I was in Canada, I guarantee you, if I was in Toronto and I was out eating, drinking some tea, someplace eating a fucking croissant, I guarantee you I would not experience in Canada, just over the border. If I was in Toronto, chilling outside, eating a croissant and drinking some tea, I guarantee you I wouldn't experience in Toronto what I'm experiencing here in these cities in the States. See, if you ain't traveled outside the States, you don't know that. You don't know too much about that. You don't know that when you get off a plane in America and all you see the same things. 7-Eleven, McDonald's, Popeye, and you keep seeing the same thing every time you get off the plane. You don't understand what kind of mind control that puts you in. But just to wrap it up, guys, this is what I'm talking about. This place is under heavy mind control, and I see it for what it is. And although I can deal with it, especially if I was walking around, could do whatever I want to do with my money, if it's just me dealing with it, it's not a big deal. But we're talking about me like trying to have a family, a wife, and all that type of stuff. And see, that's a whole different equation. I don't want my children to be too exposed to this shit. This is not living. This is not life. This is something. It's a corporation. Here, it's a corporation. It's not a country. It is a corporation. It's a difference. That's why when I lived in Cambodia, and I had did that video about the soul and the spirit that I felt in that place, it was real. It actually had a soul. You could smell that. You could smell the soul in the air. And then when I got back to the States, it was like, oh man, like when I came back from Cambodia, guys, oh man, whew, it went to another level as far as the suffering and me just seeing clearly where I reside. It's like, nah, it's soul. The place is soulless. This place is soulless. So for anybody who wants to talk to me about, me moving on and having people part of your life and not being worried about what people are doing or not worried about, women trying to talk to you and you being all paranoid because of what happened to you in the past, let me see some fucking peace. Give me my peace. And then let's see how it goes. Because you can't really say what you're going to do until you in that situation, right? But I do know I can't deal with the majority of the people out here. They're too far gone in their programming. I see it. I see it. And you guys should know I am not no fool if I know that I can be in Toronto outside eating with no problems. But over here, I can't do that. Everybody be staring. You know why they staring too? Because they don't know themselves. Not because I'm something special or I'm shining too bright. No, it had nothing to do with that. It's because they don't know who they are. The only reason they looking at me is because I ain't operating out of the fucking matrix. I ain't under no program. So if I'm in a white neighborhood of my skin color, oh, yeah, they're gonna stare. They're gonna think I'm a celebrity. What are you doing here? If I go to a black neighborhood and I go get some chicken wings and I'm outside standing there, if I'm outside eating the chicken wings, those black people will stare at me. They will know I do not belong there. I get that from both sides. I do not belong. At first, I thought it was me. I said, nah. It's just a deep spell that these people are under in this country.